What is going on out there in our social media world? Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everything that we have out there. We're thankful to be back with this next episode of MNC Hoops. I'm Michael. Of course, over here is CJ. We're happy to be back live because if you're not keeping up with anything in the NBA, then you don't know what's going on. But we now have a finals champion. We have MVP. We have finals MVP. Plus all the trades that's been going on. Honestly, I can't keep up with them as far as yesterday, today, what all has actually happened. So CJ reached out and said, man, we've got to do the show now, today, and let's get it on. So here we are. But before we get going into all this conversation about the NBA, CJ, I, of course, care about you, man. I want to know how you've been doing.
So I appreciate you, brother, all as well. It's had a pretty good week last week. Catching up with the games, NBA Finals, obviously. It's been going really some great basketball. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, everything in my life is going well. And this is going to be a wild NBA offseason. It's another one for the Bucks. It's already starting off pretty good. We haven't even officially kicked off yet, so a lot of moving pieces. Excited.
Yeah, it's baseball has finally ended for our family as far as Little League and all sorts and everything. So life is calming down a little bit. But, pool life is now opening up. So, my back and shoulders are definitely sunburnt. I should have, taken precautions. But, you live and you learn. And for 39 years, I've still been trying to learn that lesson. But you know what? Glad to be seeing some action this early in the offseason of the NBA. The championship game, the game 7 was Sunday, and then here we are Tuesday, and already have so many different things that went on. Like, of course, the KD happened before the finals was finished, and then we had some other ones that just happened, and of course, a couple big ones today. Even that's just like, oh my goodness, what are these teams doing? So let's get into it, I guess. Let's go ahead and back up to, of course, the NBA Finals. I want your thoughts on that. We both were, I was surprised that it did go Game 7. But, of course, the NBA Finals, number 1, Oklahoma City takes on number 4 from the East in the Pacers. Oklahoma does win 4-3 in Game 7. Prayers up for Halliburton with his injuries, whatever it may be. Of course, we do think it's ACL, or I'm not, Achilles that it's just got shot. You've seen so many replays on that. But OKC, first year of the dynasty. Yeah, I had to throw that out there for you, so you making you mad. But what's your thoughts on? Well, let me not say your thoughts, but are you happy with the way the finals happened? Game 7 was the first since 2016, I think. So it's been a while since we had one of these.
Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Did a fantastic job this season. 68 games in the regular season, and then to go win a championship in the postseason. Tough. 2 7-game series and move to a championship. Battling against Denver, Minnesota. These difficult teams. Memphis before Ja looked interesting, but ultimately they came when they were down 29, came back, won the game. They were just battle tested. Going up against the Pacers, great matchup. I feel like it was a heavyweight matchup, 2 different styles, 2 different ways to win. And it went down to the 7th game. The way Indiana played in Game 6 made a statement, so we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay alive for one more game. We were comfortable with getting a win on the road. They've done it all postseason. It's what they really built their postseason on, their ability to close, their ability to play well on the road. So this was nothing out of the realm for this Pacer team. And in the beginning of the game, it was going well. Unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton tears his Achilles. I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, the game, it was going so well. It was going back and forth. It looked like it was en route to being like an all-time Game 7. Halliburton was being aggressive early. Like, this is what we've been asking of him for the majority of the postseason, because what the record shows when he is aggressive, they're undefeated. And then he goes down with the Achilles. He had the right calf strain. He was dealing with pretty much the entire series, the entire NBA Finals. And it's unfortunate, man. It's a tough break. Kind of took the life out of the Pacers. Just obviously so. I mean, just a human element. It's your guy, your leader, your superstar. And he goes down in the biggest moment of the season for your team. So yeah, you know, it's definitely gonna sting. It's gonna hurt. That's just a real element. But they did fight, played well. TJ McConnell made it interesting for a little bit. I was like, well, this guy might go crazy. I mean, but just the turnovers, OKC, just their pressure. They've got defense going into the gaps, creating loose deflections, loose balls, getting to the loose balls, hustle plays. When they're able to do that, they're dangerous. The Pacers were turning the ball over way too much, especially in that second half. Cannot do that against the Oklahoma City team. They know how to capitalize on mistakes. That's what they did to them winning the championship. Bittersweet, yes, but they went out there and played the game. They had to finish. They had the rest of the game to go execute and get it done. That's exactly what they did. So congratulations to the Thunder on a damn near perfect season. SGA winning Finals MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, regular season MVP, scoring title, All NBA first team. One of the greatest seasons we've seen. But, you know, people just want to look at one narrative. And it's unfortunate. I feel like what's going to happen is whoever wins two championships in this parity era will could put themselves in position to say they're the best player in the world, or they could be the face of the league, future face of the league. You got Tatum, you got SGA, Tatum, Jokic, Giannis. You know, those are the guys where they still have a championship, and they're in that discussion of potentially being the face of the NBA, right? Being the face of the league, but they only have one championship. So now it's a battle of who's gonna get that second chip this parity era. And this is what we've seen so far right now, Oklahoma City. There's a lot of high expectations because of their youth and how they were able to win a championship at a young age. You know, we expect them to your point earlier, you know, you were talking about the dynastic thing, but, you know, it's a possibility because of the upside that this team has. Young head coach, everything really plays into their favor. You obviously trust Sam Presti, one of the best executives in the world. Now he has the championship to solidify him as hands down one of the best executives in basketball. I just think this one championship right here, you could put him right up there with any executive. I mean, you got KD, draft Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Ibaka. You make those trades for Paul George, Oladipo, Sabonis, Steven Adams, still playing well. Just got a $13 million per year extension with the Houston Rockets. We'll talk about the Rockets in a little bit, of course. Cameron Payne. I mean, he drafted some good players, man. And then now you go into he built two different teams in two different eras. In the LeBron era and the parity era. But he won a championship in the parity era because he has one of the best players in the world. And when you have the top 5 player in the world, you're always going to have a chop. You're always going to have an opportunity. So from here on out, the expectations for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is championships.
So I do want to ask you, you mentioned top 5. Is this almost... And, of course, I do agree with you. And, of course, Tank, let me bring you in real quick. As a Knicks fan, he's happy that the Indiana failures got beat and hated that for Halliburton, of course. But I don't want to get too far on this because I don't want to be like the actual media that's on ESPN that always searching for stuff, but SGA really took up a lot of gold during this time with so many different trophies that he just won. Does this put him as the front runner for this parody era, as you're saying? Like, he's the guy that everyone is following now?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's because we've seen 7 different champions in the last 7 years. That's how we have to look at it. Whoever's the current champion is the guy until somebody takes them off the crown or if they repeat. That's just how we have to look at it. That's the proper logical way to look at it. Any other way is, it's the opposite, voodoo stuff that they be doing on the media. But
yeah, and it's just this OKC team, man. It's just the NBA. One reason why it's hard for some fans to get involved is because it's not really much of team play much. In the past, it's more highlight street ball, whatever you want to say. Shoot the three, that's the only thing you live and die by. But like OKC is almost like a fundamental team where you watch them play straight defense, cause turnovers, go and score. You got SGA that just scores at will. You've got so many different people that have bought into their role to play that hard-nosed defense. And you play, 10 to 12 guys throughout the whole playoffs. It's a team, it's – this is what it's all about. These are the teams that America really wants to win, the ones that really fight for it all. And what's been great is they were number one all season. Still people counted them out as, even with the number one rank, that they could not do this. Sometimes we doubted a few times, expecting, the LeBrons, the Lucas, even the Currys, and getting Butler, that OKC just youth hadn't been there, hadn't proved it yet, that it probably still wouldn't win it. So, I mean, they just went out and proved everyone in America wrong, that they have the talent, they have the chemistry, really, and they have the coaching, the front office. They've got it all. And they still have good picks to come. So, man, this is crazy to think that, we did, like you said, different eras. We had the KD, Harden, Westbrook, Perkins, even with that team. And we didn't get the championship that they should have got. 3-1, we know that whole story. And even just staying together, if they had that chemistry, what that team could have been. That's going to be a 30 for 30. What should have been in OKC turned out just to be a thunder and storm. But now you have the new script that this guy pieced together himself from the trades that, you already mentioned. Like, this has been a decade worth of building up this team for this moment. So, kudos to everyone in the front office for sure to see the vision on this and to believe in SGA, who, was drafted by, I think, the Hornets, traded to the Clippers, and then traded for Paul George and all that. And just, it's crazy. I'm sure it has happened, but on the spur of the moment, I can't think of it. Has any player ever been traded before and win a MVP later?
Harden.
Okay. All right. That was quick. Good job. So, yeah, Harden for sure. But still, with that, though, Harden asked to be traded too. So, to me, this one's a little bit different. SGA did not ask to be traded. Like, this is the team that thought, or there was a team that thought, hey, you're not good enough for us. We're going to trade you off. And it turned into be Magic, basically.
Well, no, it was just, Kawhi wanted to play in LA and they needed another superstar. And Paul George, obviously, in his prime. He had to select.
Right. Well, I mean, SGA wasn't their starter that they thought, and that's why they traded. I mean, yes, of course, they were getting another one. That was the high option for them for developing.
Exactly.
So anything else about OKC?
It was a trade. Yeah, I mean, listen, it all came full circle. That trade right there. You make that trade, that Paul George, what has happened since the trade for the Clippers? 0 championships. 1 Western Conference Finals appearance.
Thinks his Canada basketball is up. Next up, probably Korea. I don't know. I don't know about that one. But yes, of course, SGA and even Jamal Murray from Canada. Let's just be honest. The NBA is now a global sport for sure. Like, I mean, there's so many people international that is leading the NBA now. It's good to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, can they be dynastic? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to tell. Listen, the Rockets got better.
Mhm.
I expect the Lakers to also go out there and get better as well. These other teams in the West, Clippers, Nuggets, you have to be aggressive. So right now, they're the team to beat, and the way they play defensively. So now it's just about keeping key guys. You're not always going to keep everybody, but this is why you draft. And this is what I mean when you lose players, but Sam Presti knows how to draft players. So it's not even like it's not. As an owner, you trust him. He drafted Westbrook and Harden. It's just, so I mean, like I said, this championship, man, this solidifies him as one of the greatest. Like I say, he built 2 championship teams in 2 different eras, but got the chip in the modern day era. So congratulations to this team. Small market, always going to root for that. The economy, boosting the economy over there in that area. You know, with apparel, all the different type of things you can buy with Oklahoma City on it. People create business, get money circulate back in the community over there. So just off of that, in terms of winning the chip, having a successful sports franchise over there, that stuff matters. People have jobs. So just a big season for that city. And they had the parade today, so it was cool.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and switch over because we already mentioned some of the West Coast, Western Conference, and what they have to do or to get better. But let's jump back over to the East or the Eastern. Of course, the defending, I guess you want to call it that, Eastern Conference champions, and the now Halliburton injured. What is next for the Pacers here? And of course, what did you think about their whole season too? Because nobody expected the Pacers to be here. Last year, I was surprised that they made it to the mid-season tournament championship. And it seemed like, well, okay, maybe they are doing good, but they're still overachieving. So, I mean, I think now we have to put some respect with who they are, what they've done, and consider them not overachieving now because 7 games into the finals, that's impressive.
Yeah, I wouldn't say overachieving. Once you make that Siakam trade and then you give him the extension, that's contenders. Like, we're contenders now. And they played like that. They played exactly like they know what they have over there in that roster, in that facility before anybody else. Rick Carlisle knows the squad. He trusts 1 through 15. This is like a team where you can really say everybody on the team came out there, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 players that maybe didn't play. But there were plethora of players, Pacers, that played in this postseason. They can learn and grow and gather knowledge from and just film. It's going to be difficult, man. It's such a, again, like I said earlier, probably the best, only way to really describe it is bittersweet. Because of just, Tyrese getting injured. But just an incredible season. Siakam, TJ McConnell, creating history in the NBA Finals with the steals and the efficiency. Aaron Nesmith knocking down those 6 threes in the Garden on the road. Siakam averaging 30, 50% from the field, 50% from 3 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Nembhard making that big shot in Game 1 in the NBA Finals. Halliburton just being clutch all playoffs. Bucks, Cavs, Knicks, Oklahoma City. I mean, just the entire playoff run. It was an incredible playoff run. I mean, it was really, if they had secured this one, this would have been up there with Dallas, the Dallas chip for me. Because they would have been underdogs every single series. Maybe I don't think they were underdogs in the series against the Bucks. It's because Dame was out at the time. But for the most part, they would have been considered underdogs the entire way through. And they outplayed the Knicks. They outplayed the Cavs. It wasn't just here and there, a bad call. It was, no, we're better. So they're going to have to just continue to improve on that. Roles will be heightened now. The Halliburton's out. Now Nembhard is going to be looked upon to be a primary scorer / facilitator you could put the team on my back to close the game in the fourth quarter now. That's going to be his role now. And then Benedict Mathurin is going to have to step up. Shepard, Aaron Nesmith, Siakam has to take his game to another level. People, the 54th pick that they have in the second round on Thursday that they have to capitalize on. So it's an uphill battle because you lose your superstar at the end of the season, and the likelihood of him coming back is very slim for me. I wouldn't risk it. An Achilles injury in June, we say it's 9 to 12 month recovery. I'm taking my time. I'm taking my time off the rip. So Pacers going to have to look in the offseason and try to find another guard. TJ McConnell is going to probably get some heavy minutes. Will he be a starter? Will you do McConnell, Nembhard, and then try to find somebody off the bench? Or do you make a trade for a Drew Holiday? Get a Drew Holiday in there. You go Holiday, Nembhard. They're definitely going to need some type of lead guard. It may not have to be a facilitator because, again, I feel like now you can lean on Nembhard to kind of be that combo scoring playmaker. So still a lot of questions, but, again, an incredible season for Indiana. And like I said, prayers up to Halliburton. Once he gets back, the team is going to be even better because the guys around him have been developed and know how to win without him. They already know how to win with him. So then when that unison connects with the coaching that's already elite, they're going to be back in title contention soon. So, really good team, man. I was very impressed with how they played. Very impressed.
Tank's asking about Boston rebuilding before luxury tax. Tank, we'll get to it. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Boston here shortly and some of the trades they've already done, maybe to even address some of that you got there. But, yeah, so I'm going to ask you this. I mean, we know some things are going to change even from now. We already know Boston's made a trade. We know Atlanta's done something. But to me, I think it's crazy when people don't do this, and I'm one that thinks it's there. Like, to me, Pacers are the team to beat in the East now, no matter what. Like, everyone's going to try to get better. Like, Boston, hands down, in my opinion, were the best five that they had this year. It's just, it just didn't work out for them. Pacers proved time and time again each series that they have the will to win. Honestly, they had the conditioning in some opinions because it seemed like fourth quarter they still had the fifth gear to go into. So do you feel that way, that the Pacers are the team now in the East that you got to look forward to? Because, Cavs had a great season this year as well, but Pacers are the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, it's, I guess, just on merit, you could say, just because they did win the East, but with Halliburton being out, we don't know what this team is going to look like. So it's really tough to say. I think
that's true.
I think now what we can say is it's not just a two-team conference. That's what we can say now. That's really what the narrative was. We were saying it. Most people were saying it until proven otherwise. And the Pacers became one of those teams that proved a lot of people otherwise. It's more than just a two-team conference. Orlando just got better. I believe the Hawks just got better. If Porzingis can stay healthy, we'll also get into that as well, guys. It's just right now for season ends. They're the team, but you guys say Cleveland. I don't know what the Celtics look. We don't know what the Celtics are going to look like. It's not even the offseason hasn't even started yet, and they've been making moves, and their team looks completely different than what it did when the playoffs started. So I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite in the Eastern Conference. We'll see what the Knicks do. They don't have a head coach yet. We need to definitely dive into that and get that in soon.
How do they still not have a coach?
I don't think it's. I think if they get one before free agency, they should definitely secure one before free agency. I think they do that. So we got a couple of days.
Gotcha. Tank says, ever since LeBron's second coming, the Cavs have been straight sewer water. They had a great season this year. They were number one in the East during the season, so I kind of disagree with you on that. I feel like
they just for Cleveland. Cleveland is just a situation for just Mobley has to be the number one. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But what do you think about the Cavs? I know you obviously high on Cleveland. You high on Cleveland still? What's up, bro? I got you on mute.
I don't think Mobley has to be the number one, but I do think Mobley needs to step up his game to be a high number two, almost a 1A, 1B kind of situation. Because to me, Donovan Mitchell can do it all and score at will. He's proven that. He shows that year in, year out. But I feel like his scoring ability hurts sometimes for the chemistry with the rest of the team. Like, he scores without, coming off screens, off the ball or anything like that. Like, it's just straight one-on-one. I'm going to the hole. If they help, I'm still going to try to force and score. So I feel like this next season, I would like to see him try to up his average for assists to get the team more involved, or have the Mobley take over some extra possessions there and be a scorer too. Because truthfully, at least the Celtics, when they played the Cavaliers, it always seemed like everyone sagged off onto Donovan Mitchell more and make him to pass. And, I've said it for years, the LeBron style of basketball, pound the air out of the ball until someone helps, and then you're kicking it out for a shot for him. I couldn't stand that, but, obviously it works, but I wouldn't like that playing style. And I think the Cavs sometimes getting that. And, of course, this year they look much better on offense as a whole compared to prior years on their standings and whatnot. And their defense is always going to be there. So I think if they can maybe improve the bench, they've got a solid 4 or 5 more or less. Small forward still needs increase productivity as well, even if it's someone off the bench. If they go with that, they'll figure that part out. To me, Donovan Mitchell is the one still, and I'm fine with it. It's just he's got to be a facilitator as well, a general. He's got to change his style instead of being that shooting guard mentality where I'm going to score as much as I can to, okay, now I've got to change my style of running the offense, setting up these guys where they get, run the pick and roll, throw the lobs to 2 guys who can duck it out of anywhere, get the other players involved. So it's not all depending on you, because Donovan Mitchell, even back in the Jazz years, he was always the guy, but it always seemed playoff time, he ran out of steam because so much of 82 games that he does as far as the scoring mentality, I think, by the end of the season, he ain't got much in the tank. So I'm good with Mobile stepping up his game, but I don't have to say he's number one. So I want him to see him a really good, close Batman Robin.
It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I feel like the Pacers, they did a great job of exploiting what the Cavs did well. I know they missed a couple players in the series, but ultimately, defensively, if you want to just look how they played defensively, they were up on the screens. Aaron Nesmith was fighting over the screens, man. I mean, he did a phenomenal job this playoffs, man. Coming from the Celtics, he had some good moments, but you just didn't know. He really worked on his game. He got better. He worked on his shot. His IQ increased. And he's a solidified small forward in the NBA. Easy. Obi Toppin, lottery pick, had some expectations with the Knicks, just didn't work out. Goes to a Pacer team, it fits his play style. And you saw him excel and have really good moments here in the postseason. So I mean, this Pacer team, they're going to be dangerous. I mean, they have another reason for people to doubt them, and they're just going to use that as fuel now. But they also need to build and then get some of these players. Like I said, they probably need like two perimeter players.
Who, the Cavs or the Pacers?
No, the Pacers. Yeah, Pacers need two perimeter players because I don't feel like you could just replace Halliburton with just one player. Yeah.
I get that. All right, let's see here. What else we got on this list? We ready to get into some trade talks?
Let's do it.
Guys, if you haven't seen anything going on in the trades, man, you either don't have an iPhone or a cell phone at all, or you really don't like basketball. And I don't know why you're watching this show. But so we all knew speculations were going on. We heard that Kevin Durant may be going here, there, or somewhere. But yesterday, I think it broke news that Kevin Durant has been traded to the Houston Rockets. And, of course, that means he's leaving the Suns. Here's the deal. They get Kevin Durant. The Rockets gave up Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, who cares, first-round pick, the number 10 in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. Now, CJ, you and I, we've talked a little bit about this. Me personally, if I'm the Suns, instead of saying 5 second-round picks, I would have said, hey, just give me another first-round pick, because second-round picks, to me, aren't very valuable. You could say 5, 10, 15, 20, like it's still like you're hoping you can hit with somebody, but more than likely you're trying to use those for trade bait with someone else. And, of course, we've talked about Bradley Beal. Is he out the door next, which I think so, and I think you agree. So maybe those 5 second-round picks is being buttered up with that deal as well. But let's go to the Rockets side. What do you think of this trade? I know it hurts giving up Jalen Green, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it caught me by surprise. We were texting early, when the trade happened. I was like, man. Then I looked at the deal. They didn't have to give up Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Whitmore. So they would have to give up a little bit more. But I think the Rockets, Kevin Durant, they did a really good job of letting this thing play all the way out pretty much up until the draft, to where Phoenix, they needed capital. They needed draft capital because they lost so much when they acquired Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant in the last few years. So they just felt like they had to make a move before the draft. And the Rockets and KD and his agency, they put a lot of pressure on Phoenix. And Phoenix tried to get the best deal possible. Jalen Green, you get a young guard with some upside. He was a starting shooting guard on the number 2 team in the West. Did he have his moments where he was inconsistent? Does he need to improve? Yeah, he's still a young player. Now it's just a matter of what's his mindset. He's getting traded this early in his career. It could be very Harden-esque. We'll see. Because, like I said, he does have the athleticism. Definitely has the big game playability, to where he could get a poster, shoot threes, midi, 3-level scorer, but with the athleticism. Very similar. And when he's on, it looks like what we see from Anthony Edwards at times, and these other great young players. So going to Phoenix with Devin Booker, I think it could be a fun backcourt. Ultimately, defense is going to have to be a priority for both players if they want to do anything in the Western Conference. I mean, just in any conference, really. But if you want to have any type of winning, that's what they have to prioritize first. Because Phoenix is one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Probably they were the worst defensive team in the league last year. So you want to make sure that's the number one priority for your offseason for the Phoenix Suns. So getting someone like Dylan Brooks in the deal, I think it was a good move. I think it was a good piece. He brings physicality. He brings a certain type of mindset. I never heard any of his teammates say anything bad about him. And that's ultimately what matters, right? Of course, fans are going to have our opinions, whether we like him or not. But everywhere he goes, he shows his impact. Are there extracurricular activities involved? Yeah. But big shot making, playing defense, not afraid to guard the team's best player, other team's best player. Like that's that for a fact. That's what you see from him off rip. So can the shooting improve? Yeah. But you're still getting a quality player, starter. The 10th pick could be anybody. It could be anybody. What do they do with that 10th pick? I would go center. I would go 5 spot. I just think you have to try to get one of these young centers, develop them. Hopefully they develop quicker than expected, so they can battle against these bigs, Jokic and Wemby, Şengün, Zubats. You need a dog at the 5 spot if you want to contend in the West. Because Hartenstein, Chet, it's going to get scary. It's going to get scary if you don't have a dog at the 5. So I think that's really what I'm looking at for Phoenix. The 5 second-round picks. I think second-round picks and late first-round picks in this era, in this parity era, I think they're gonna have more value than the eras of past, because especially with the second apron and how the NBA is making it very difficult for teams to stay intact for a long amount of time. You're going to need young players ready to go and develop, and they need to be developed. They need to be ready to play when their number's called. As we saw with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers, depth is going to matter. So those could be the late first-round picks, second-round picks that nobody's sleeping on. Those could be a 2-year, 3-year college guy. He played in a system. He understands how to excel in a system, as opposed to just being a young guy who just had the ball in his hands the whole entire season, and he was the system. To where you have a 2-3-year college guy who played well, but learned, developed. It took him a couple years to get better, so he had to start off as a role player first and develop into a quality starter. So now when he's going into the NBA, he already has the IQ on how to produce early on in the season as a rookie. I feel like we're going to start seeing some more players like that. So we're going to see how good these scouts are, how good these people can draft. Because like you said, it used to be like second round. Now second round pick, an NBA draft is it's 2 days now. It's on TV. That was what they didn't want to make it seem like it was just for Bronny for last year, because they made it a two-day thing last year. If they keep it going, this is what I mean. I mean, that's big time. It's just like the NBA. Just like the NFL draft. NFL draft is 3 days. NBA, they feel like they're just as big as the NFL. They want to extend their draft days too. So I'm telling you, these second round picks, they're gonna be called up, and people are gonna be highlighting them and looking at them. We're gonna see how good these people on these teams could draft and scout. This is a different era. So Phoenix, they got some picks back. They capitalize on it. We'll see. I don't really trust their front office, because the build trade really hurt them. It wasn't more so KD, it was the build trade, and it was the fact that since it didn't work, and then he has a no trade clause too, so you can't move him without him getting the green light. It was tough.
Sorry about that. I was muted and I couldn't hit the button. Yeah, I agree with you. You might have changed my mind a little bit on these second round picks. I still don't want to hold too much value to them. Of course, quantity is always nice, but especially I'm just thinking after you're speaking there, the Pacers played 10 to 11 people deep all season or in playoffs, and then you had, of course, OKC 10 to 12. So maybe these do come in place. With that number 10 pick, I was trying to look through and see kind of what the orders maybe look like on the mock drafts. But if there's not a center, I think they need to go. Well, let me ask you this first, because now you got 2 shooting guards, Booker and Green on this team. Booker played a little point guard this year, but a lot of people didn't really think he played well with it. Took away from some of his ability on scoring, which, I get that. Do you think they go point guard or best ability or best available if PG or center on this? Or do you think Jalen Green can play the 3? Because that would be moving one of those to a 3 if you go out and get a point guard.
Dylan Brooks has to start. That's the start.
Okay.
Because of the defense, and
that's why you got him, honestly.
Yeah. So it's going to be Booker and Green. We just saw Halliburton and Nembhard. They're 2 combo guards.
Right. Okay, I'm with you.
White and Holiday, they're an unorthodox backcourt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't make it. Just like these is the NBA. You can't make it work.
Right.
Got to make it work, man. If it works, it could be one of the scariest scoring backcourts we've ever seen, easily. If Green learns from Booker and this type of like big brother thing, and they try to develop and grow, and he locks in and becomes an all around better player with Booker, they could be special. I don't know how many games they're gonna win, but it could be special. Right. So I feel like, point guard or center. This is back to the same thing we've been saying about Phoenix, and that's what they've been needing. Chris Paul, Ayton, they haven't been able to get real replacements for those guys.
right.
since they got rid of him. So I would go center. I know Nick Richards is there, but I'm going Booker, Green, Brooks, Ryan Dunn, and I mean Richards right now. Yeah, he's the 5. But again, you know, if I can find a front court player with that 10 spot, good scouting, you know, you feel comfortable about him, defensive minded, has the potential to grow offensively. I think you go 5. Go with the 5. That's just me.
Right now, ESPN came out, I think maybe 3 or 4 hours ago, a mock draft. And at the 10 spot for the Suns, of course, this trade, they've got them taking Carter Bryant from Arizona, who's a small forward, power forward. Without shoes, he's 6'6" and a half. Reaching or standing reaches 8 feet 2 inches or 10 inches, so almost 9 feet. I mean, I get it. Maybe you're going for the 4 and going with Richardson still, but I look down through here, and the next center that I see drafted that they have mocked is Colin Murray Boyles. He's Boyles, from South Carolina, and he's 6'6" and a half as well without shoes. As a power forward center, I feel like that's going a little small, but I understand it's kind of changed. I mean, we have 6'9" centers sometimes now, but 6'6" as a center is getting pretty small. Granted, he's a sophomore, so he's still growing, but I don't know. I'm looking through here on some of these rosters, maybe someone that we don't know, maybe someone from across the seas that we don't know much about could be taken at that center position because, let's be honest, most international players at center are good when they get to the NBA. So I don't know. We'll have to see where they go on it. I agree with you. I think center or point guard. Oh, I didn't see this graphic you got up here. I was looking at the list. Oh, yeah, and that's not even mentioning
Just, you got the Phoenix Suns, and then we'll talk about the Rockets lineup.
Okay. But so, I mean, I think point guard center is basically where they really need to go. Do you think – I don't think this is going to happen, but do you think Richards could play the 4 if they went out and got a big center? Maybe some at least. I just don't think he's much of a stretch now that, you know, that 4 has to be able to shoot a 3, which
if that center can space the floor, if that center can space the floor, then it's possible. You can have Richards in a dunker spot, but I think Ryan Dunn should be – he's the versatile. Once he works on his shot, his defensive versatility.
That's
with Dylan Brooks, that small forward. If they could find a center that can really change the game, impact the game, that would that would be crazy. If the Suns can find that 5 spot with that backcourt, and then you have 2 defensive-minded small forward and power forward, and you can have that game changer at the 5. Woo! But
so the Suns aren't out of it.
No,
correct?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's good that questions have to be answered. But like I said, he was a starting shooting guard on the second seed in the West. Like, I'm not just going to just write him off because his debut playoff series wasn't successful.
Right.
But,
so just looking at this, and we'll get into the Rockets, but of course we know Cooper Flag, that's not going to happen anywhere else. Like that, that's a done deal. San Antonio Spurs has the 2nd pick. They're, of course, looking to get a point guard. It says that Dylan Harper, point guard, shooting guard from Rutgers. Of course, he's a great player. He's a freshman. We know he was up there anyways. I think it's really just taking the best available at that 2nd spot because, you know, who they already have. But 76ers looks, as far as the draft or the mock, and we know it doesn't always go that way. Looks like they're predicting a small or shooting guard from Baylor. I can't say his name, so I'm going to try. And then moving on down here, Duke's Nepal, I think it was. Hornets just look like who they're going to get small forward there. Jazz is going for a point guard. The Fears from Oklahoma, good player. And then Rutgers, Ace Bailey, who I actually think will be a good player. They're mocking him to the Wizards at 6. Reason why I'm doing this, the first 2 centers basically are Duke players, and it says number 7, the Pelicans are possibly going to be picking him. Of course, they'll get mocked. I build that up to really say like 2 centers before the top 10. I mean, do you think they use some of these other picks and a bill to maybe move up from 10 to try to make a move for one of these guys?
Yeah, I think so. If they're aggressive, if that's what they really go. If they really have someone on their board that they're looking at, and they feel like he's going to be gone before 10. Use a couple of those assets to try to make a deal. Of course, I mean they have to.
I personally think
they have
that's
nothing
what I
else
would
to
do.
lose. They have nothing else to lose.
Because with losing KD to me says that, okay, we failed. That's basically all you can say is we failed with KD. So let's try to be as good, if not better, as fast as we can without KD to prove that it wasn't us. That's how I would be. So, okay, we've got these 5 second-round picks. Let's see if we can move this with our 10th pick to maybe move up and see if we can get some more assets or give up some of these assets to move up into maybe the top 5 and get one of these guys that's going to be outstanding compared to the others. But that's what I would try to do. And, of course, do you think we're still trading Bill?
Yeah, I think so. They have to find a suitor that for both parties. With team.
Bradley Beal goes to Pacers. That's it.
I don't know if they have the. I don't know if they have the money because it's 52 mil that you're picking up. That's really probably what it really is.
Yeah,
that's probably why teams are really reluctant. He may get moved in draft night. See it happening. Teams want to make a move. They feel like they can't get a certain guy in a draft, but they could use that draft pick or certain assets to go get someone like Bradley Beal. Time will tell. I don't think he'll stay with Phoenix, so they could potentially get some picks, get a young player here and there in that deal. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just feel like for Houston, it puts them in a spot where they could definitely. We have to see how they play on the court, but with what they have, great coaching. I'll just start with the ownership. Tilman Fertitta, Ralph Stone. Harden got traded, 2021? 2021? So this was a 4-year rebuild. OKC had a 6-year rebuild. So here we have 2 franchises, right? This is fascinating. We have 2 franchises, right? OKC, Houston, over the last decade, over a decade, they've been synonymous, right? Because of the Harden trade. One of the most iconic trades, historic trades of all time. And then now we see they had Harden, they had Westbrook. They had so many different teams they contended. And now it took them a couple years. They had some draft picks. They had some top picks, lottery picks, Şengün, Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green. And OKC as well had top draft picks that got better, developed, elite coaching. So this is how I really see how good these executives are at their jobs. And for you to transform this team after being a pretty a well-known contender, Oklahoma City and the Rockets, they were contenders every single year in the West for the last decade, as long as Harden and Westbrook were out there. KD before he left. And here we go again now. Kevin Durant is going to the Rockets. Houston lost 7 games to Golden State in the first round last year. The season's over now. Last year. They needed a go-to guy. They needed someone that could go out there and get 27 on efficient numbers, and Kevin Durant is the greatest at that. There's not one player that's more efficient than him as a scorer. He's the most efficient scorer ever. Period. Like 52, it was 52, 42, 85 last year in Phoenix. So, I mean, this is just what he does. He's a 50, 40, 90 threat every single season. He will be until he retires. So now you add that to the starting five. The starting five is really good. I like the starting five. Ime Udoka. You could use different lineups and exploit them. Thompson and Jabari Smith are the real X factors in this lineup right here. Because if Thompson can continue to improve his outside shot and grow as a shot creator off the dribble with his intangibles and what he already does defensively and as a vertical spacer, Kevin Durant beside him is going to get even easier baskets than what he had last year. So you have to double KD. KD's when they draw two and KD gives it up and they're moving the basketball, they could definitely be one of the most dangerous teams in the league. Defensively, what are we going to see from Jabari Smith Jr.? Because he's going to have to be the guy. Him and Şengün are going to have to play well defensively. They cannot be lackadaisical front court players. In the Western Conference, they're going to put you in space. You're going to have to guard. You have to step up on the screen, show your feet, slide your feet. Şengün's going to have to change the game defensively at that 5 spot. Now, keep extending Steven Adams was a great job. Not letting Steven Adams even test the market at all. Giving him that extension quickly. That was one of the first moves, really, before anything really popped off, was that Steven Adams extension. So that was a great move by Houston. Now you can have lineups with KD, Jabari Smith, and Adams. You could do KD, Şengün, and Adams. You could have it with KD, Eason, or Adams. You know, you could switch up that front court depending on what's going on, who's playing well, what's a better defensive lineup depending on who you're playing. So this team is no question a threat. They're definitely going to be a threat to Oklahoma City. I would probably say Houston and Dallas probably the 2 teams right now. I would say that would definitely I feel like would give Oklahoma City a really good matchup in the postseason. But I still see here, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm just going to ask, of course, Reed Shepherd, who they still have on the bench. Like, at some point, either you got to play him or you got to consider trading him. Like, I'm surprised the Suns didn't ask for that piece in with that trade, too.
Listen, TJ McConnell, man, he what he did in this postseason, he changed a lot of people's perspective on on people thinking a certain guy, this is how, just putting certain players in a box. Mm-hmm. And when you give certain guys an opportunity, when they play well, you see, and then once they get some confidence, you see what that looks like. You see how they can change the game regardless of what people may think or where they were drafted at, what the physical traits look like on the court. If they're confident and they have high IQ and their teammates trust them, you have a situation like TJ McConnell stepping up in the playoffs, having great postseason moments. Been a great player pretty much really his whole career. Been a really good player his whole career. Solid. So now you see Reed Shepherd coming in there. He's going to get an opportunity. When you lose a guard like Jalen Green, the other guards that were vying for minutes, we were talking about Whitmore and Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd would go battle with the G League because there really weren't any minutes for him. It wasn't that he wasn't playing well or that he wasn't good. It's just a hierarchy. So now he's going to have to earn those minutes, those backup point guard minutes. Has to earn his teammates' trust, and I think he can come in and make an impact off the bench for Houston with Whitmore, Tari Eason. Your second unit is Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, and Reed Shepherd. Steven Adams. That's pretty damn good nine-man rotation right there, man.
Yeah, man.
I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the Rockets, I mean, let's be honest, this is the least amount that someone had to give up to get Kevin Durant in the 4 teams that he's been on, not counting being drafted. So, yeah, the Rockets are really in a good position to really manipulate any kind of lineup that they want, like you said, with the 9 guys. I mean, you could even see Şengün move to the 4 spot and play Steven Adams at a center there and just go big with some quick guards or backcourt as well. So, like, yeah, this team's really got some weapons to see how they want to play it out. So kudos to the Rockets on making this trade, making it happen. I have seen some stuff that Miami Heat turned down on getting KD, and then there's also some that were saying that they were asking a lot more than what they got from the Rockets from the Heat. So who knows what's true? Of course, we hear everything on that.
And this is the best roster. This is the best roster that KD's been on since Golden State.
I agree.
No question. Ime Udoka is the best head coach Kevin Durant has had since being in Golden State with Steve Kerr.
I agree with that too.
So now, what is this window? 1 year left on the deal. We assume he's going to get signed the extension with the Rockets. So let's just say a 3-year window. Can Kevin Durant? This is the question. Can Kevin Durant win a championship in 3 years with this Houston Rockets lineup?
I'm going to say yes, he can, but I'm not going to put any money on it because everywhere Kevin Durant's went, it's all fell to crumbles, basically. I mean, we thought there's championship or bust in Brooklyn. It busted. We thought, wow, he went to the Suns to pair up with Brooklyn or with Booker. This is going to be great. They even got Bill now, and, well, obviously that crumbled as well. So I don't know. The talent, as far as on paper, yes. He should be able to get a ring in 3 years, or could get a ring in 3 years. But if I was to make a bet, it would be that no, he does not.
So remember, this is different, like you said. Well, why we were really apprehensive when we talked about KD, because every time teams traded for KD, they had to gut their roster. Mm-hmm. So again, this is a different situation from Phoenix and Brooklyn, right? Because they still kept their core their core players. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Why? Because so far, as we've seen, and we'll have a little do a trivia later. There's no clear-cut favorite every single year. There's no dominant team in this era. We've just seen a dominant team each year. So with the right coaching, guys, health is going to matter, as we've seen. The healthiest team. So if this team can stay healthy, they definitely have an opportunity to win a championship, for sure, in the next 2 years. When you trade Jalen Green, what you also say is we think Amin Thompson is going to be the future superstar for us. Because they had just extended Jalen Green.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to be Green and Şengün. And Thompson played so well, and he wasn't even scoring. He was impacting the game, and then people were looking at Green being having inconsistencies as a young player, and so it made it easier for Houston to move Green, because you have someone that Amin Thompson who's going to grow, get better. He's 6'7" now. He's playing shooting guard. They're going to be. They're going to be a difficult team to stop in the Western Conference for sure. So yes, in the next 3 years, I do believe the Rockets will win a championship, man. It's
okay.
Yeah, Jabari Smith is that X factor for me, and it's the defense. It has nothing to do with the scoring. He's gonna have to play well defensively. Him and Şengün. And what I'm most excited to see is, with these young players, this Amin Thompson learning from KD. That's really all he needs, right? Is shot creation. He has everything else. He's a willing defender. He'll play or guard anybody in the world. He'll dunk on anyone, get rebounds, get triple doubles, stand in the dunker spot, score, get and ones, knock down free throws. Like, he'll do all these things. And once he works on his off the dribble bag, it's going to be it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary. So him learning from KD, Jabari Smith, Şengün, those guys learning from one of the greatest scorers of all time. I'm interested to see what this looks like. I think it's going to be an exciting team. Exciting team.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with you. It's going to be fun to see how they develop or what they develop in, or how they start to figure out this roster, who starts basically, and the rotation that they do. Let's go ahead and jump over to another trade that happened. I think it happened today, didn't it? Yeah, because you were lost on it at first. So the Hawks make a move, surprisingly. And, of course, it is Porzingis traded to the Hawks. Now, of course, that's a 3-team trade, I think it is. I think we'll talk about the second half of this trade probably in just a second. But honestly, I mean, I know he's been hurt in and out quite a bit. But so the full trade details from Legion Hoops, as we brought up here. Of course, second-round pick and Porzingis. Celtics get Georgia's second-round pick, and the Nets get Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick. So there's a comment down here that Boston couldn't afford to pay all of them dudes. Of course, I think, Tank, this is what you were referring to earlier when you were talking about the luxury tax. We'll mention another trade that the Celtics have done already as well next. So, I mean, Celtics going to have a tough time with finances here, and I think this is a part of the move. I mean, the Porzingis was hurt, I would say, more than not hurt this season, or at least in the past 2 seasons. It seems like he's missed more time than he has in a while, or last season. Let me say that because I know he missed quite a bit one season. But I don't think losing let me back up. Not losing Porzingis, obviously the Celtics would be better because Al Horford is so close to being right out the door. He's very limited what he does. Porzingis can play that 4, stretch 4, even the 5 as well, of course. But his availability due to injuries has been hurting for the Celtics for so much. But I do think if he's healthy, this is a great move for the Hawks. You know, I mean, of course, you know what they have there, their first-round pick, and, of course, with Trae Young, add this to that weapon as well, then you've got a good 3-core there if he stays healthy. So I've rambled a lot here, but what are your thoughts on this trade? Who benefited from this one?
Yeah, this was a shocker. This is a shocker right now because, what's up?
I was just going to say, just a 3-team trade. So rank, A, B, C, who in whatever order you think, but keep going.
For the Celtics, we'll start with the Celtics because this is a move that they needed to do. They were unable to really keep all those guys at that price. You're paying, 2 players $300 million contracts. Unfortunately, Tatum's out with the injury. You have to make moves. You have to clear up space to try to add more depth to this roster, and that may be meaning losing a really good starter in someone like Porzingis. Porzingis helped the Celtics win that championship. His floor spacing at the 5, defensive ability, they're going to miss that. They're going to miss that for sure. And then now they really don't have an answer at the 5 spot. As you said, Horford is getting up there. So I think this is not the last we've seen for the Celtics. Brad Stevens, I think he's going to make another move to try to get a center because they're definitely going to need one now. And how, who that center will be, based on how the Celtics play until where they put up threes and shoot a bunch of threes. How is that going to factor in? Are they going to change the way they play? It's a lot of questions now because of the NBA. They're making it difficult for these teams to really become dynastic. Because if you're paying certain guys who have the top 2 options, they're young, you're giving them a large contract, that's going to eat up a lot of the cap. So these picks, these young players, these guys that you draft, better make sure they're locked in. Better make sure they're locked in. J.D. Davison, Jordan Walsh, these young players on the Celtics, Peyton Pritchard, they have to rise to the occasion. So I'm looking at Boston right now, and it's a lot of questions, man. They're a completely different team. a completely different looking team. And now there's rumors circulating that they could potentially be moving Jaylen Brown. I don't think that's a smart idea at all. I think it's definitely better with keeping Jaylen Brown, especially in the Eastern Conference, especially where he could grow, get better, and improve as a number one option, challenging himself going into next season. I think that's a great thing. I wouldn't move off him. The Celtics looking different, man. The Celtics looking different. They're shaking up the East. It's making the East more competitive for some of these other teams. And I look at Atlanta. Wow. You look at the starting five right here. You tell me what's your thoughts about the starting five. Now that Porzingis is with the Hawks, man. This is different right here. This is nice. So we got Trae Young at the 1, Dyson Daniels at the 2, Zachary Russo-Shear at the 3, Jalen Johnson at the 4, Kristaps Porzingis at the 5. This is exactly how you build around your 6'2" point guard who's not great defensively. You put 4 defenders around him that can shoot. Dyson Daniels not a great shooter. He needs to improve on that. But once he does, it's over. Because defensively, he's one of the best in the world. So once he improves as an outside shooter, Zachary already showed that he has an ability to space the floor. He had some really good games in his rookie season. I expect him to get stronger, get better, put the ball on the floor, gain his confidence. He's the number 1 pick. So him and Trae Young need to be the 2 options, the top 2 options. Jalen Johnson has so much upside dealing with a shoulder injury last year. Vertical spacer, worked on his shot, improved as a shot creator, was a really good rebounder at his height, willing rebounder, averaging 10 rebounds before he got hurt. That's what we like to see at the 4 spot. 10-plus rebounds, that's a power forward. And now you add Porzingis. Of course, the number 1 thing with Porzingis is availability. That's what it's always been. It's never been about talent. It's always been about availability for Kristaps. So Quinn Snyder, Landry Fields has done a really good job building this team. And defense, shooting, grit, playmaking. This is nice. This is a really good Hawks team, man. It's a really good Hawks team. Now, like again, Russo-Shear has to develop and take that next step. He has to take that next step. Him and Jalen Johnson, honestly, Daniels, Russo-Shear, and Johnson, they have unlimited upside to me. To me, they have unlimited upside. So I just think with this starting lineup, what we're seeing with these teams creating great starting lineups. Orlando, I love Orlando's starting lineup. We're going to talk about that later. Their starting lineup, Denver's, Clippers, OKC, Boston, before they made these moves. Knicks have a really good starting lineup. Hawks have put themselves in a position to be competitive again. It took a couple years. I was tired, playing. We're not impressed. A move like this, maybe a couple more moves to fill out the second unit. They can vie for that top 6 spot. They can. It's very possible. Like I said, it's all up in the air. Nothing is clear cut in today's NBA era.
What I like about this is kind of, you already touched on it, is the more or less defensive minded. These guys will be behind Trae Young on this. We've seen Cleveland start off doing the defense, being the number 1 defense in so many categories, and then turning in their offense as they develop their guys, their in-house draft guys. And I kind of feel like this is almost the same thing that they're starting to show here. Like you said, Dyson, his defense that he has. Of course, Zakier, if I'm saying it right, a 6'8" small forward, 6'8", 6'9", 23 years old, still possibly growing. Who knows? So, the wingspan he has and the mobility. He's able to guard and deflect shots as well. So, like you said, 2 through 5 that they have right here all can play defense. I won't say that Porzingis can guard a 2, but I'm just saying they're defensive minded with what they bring in. I feel like that's a building block for years to come. Right away, I still feel like they're, over 500. Maybe have them. I'm going to say that actually next year, I'm going to call them a play-in team just for the fact that I still think there's some development that has to happen with this team. The potential is really big for this team and what goes on. I also want to see kind of how they add to this lineup as well, because what I like about what the NBA is doing, and we're seeing different teams now, is defensive players are very pivotal for you to have a winning season, basically. You've got 1 or 2 good offensive guys, but the rest have to think defense, and then you build from that. So I think Atlanta is showing movement for the past, 2-3 years. We've always said Atlanta's staying the same. Like, we don't know if they just plateaued in what they're doing. We don't see no vision. We weren't really for sure who they were going to draft last year. And then, you never hear anything mentioned about him as far as the global standards. It's like we had with Wemby. So I do think adding Porzingis, of course, you do have Zakir still developing. We see that they are actually trying to get better this year. So potentially could be that 6, maybe even 5 if everything falls into place. But still, it's Atlanta. I'm going to pump the brakes just a tad bit and say, well, I want to see it first. But a good move. I think this is a vertical move for them, and defensive-minded, as long as that's what they all buy into. Trae Young, get a little more shot selective as far as don't force up everything. Let's run some plays and actually run an offense before we get you firing away, because that's his major downfall is he tries to be Steph Curry, and he's not. Yes, he can make some shots. Yes, he's ice in the veins and all that stuff, but you miss about 20 to make the game-winning shot. So that's my only thing with that.
Yeah, the expectation now, exactly, is when your 2 through 5 is so dynamic, like how it is now, so with upside and athleticism, Rishashir, Johnson, Daniels, when they take that next step in their development, it takes away the bad shots that Trae Young would take because he wouldn't have to force the issue as he did before, because they needed him to go out there, get 28, and then also get 11 assists. Now once they develop and get better, easier shots will come for Trae Young. Those floaters will be even easier because the lanes will be larger, because now you have to stay on those guys. You can't help on these players once they get better. So then also you could go for 5. You go 5 out. Go 5 out here. You have Dyson Daniels as a screen man with Trae Young. You could really have some mismatches and create mismatches against some squads with this lineup here. Of course, potential is always top 6 when you make a move like this, like you said, a linear move. But we have to see how it looks like on the court. But I'm happy that the Hawks are being aggressive and they're not just laying down, staying complacent with what they have, trying to make a move. They know they have a great point guard, and how they're building it right now, I think it's perfect. I think how they're building their team now is perfect. So this NBA, this is going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting next year. We can't say the East. We can't say the East is just trash anymore. And I think if you don't have league pass, I don't know, man. If you don't have league pass next year, Hawks Magic, it's a movie. That's just a regular season game. Hawks Magic that's a great game. And they just played each other in the play-in. Now and both teams got better. Love that.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah, and of course we'll get on to one that improved as well as what you're saying. It's getting better. But yeah, so that's one thing I will say that I'm liking so far. And we're 2 days out from the NBA Finals, and you're seeing the East actually make moves to try to be competitive. I mean, of course, you had Knicks 3-4 seed throughout the whole year. Cavs 1 and 2, of course. Celtics was 1 and 2, and they've traded some, but still I think are holding it together, as we'll talk about another trade here that they did. But of course, I didn't even say the Pacers in this. Now the Hawks are making a move. Orlando has made a move. That's at least 6 teams that we don't really know how it's going to pan out, but they all are pretty well close in making moves right now, or at least potential-wise, like I said earlier. So, yeah, it should be fun. But let's go ahead and jump over to what else the Celtics did to kind of keep this going. As far as freeing up money, of course, the Celtics trade for Anthony Simons, and Holiday goes to the Blazers. I'm sure that's more money. I do like Simons coming here because he's a younger guy, and I think he has more potential than what we're actually seeing with him since he is in Portland. Very athletic guy, untapped talent that we haven't seen much on a national stage, which I'm glad he's going to Boston to see what we can develop him in. I do think Boston loses some on defense, of course, but that's also what Derek White does. So maybe this is a good vision on what they're trying to do and fix up some different spots that they're having to move around here. So according to Courtside Buzz on Twitter, which CJ's brought up here, Boston Celtics trade Drew Holiday to Portland for Simons. Blazers receive Drew Holiday. Celtics receive Simons and 2 second-round picks. And, of course, ask who won this deal. I just hate – well, I really like Drew Holiday. I was a big fan of him before he went to Milwaukee, and I think he was really the guy that put them over the hump to win a ring. Of course, now he goes to Boston, wins a second ring. Portland, I just feel, has a lot of young talent. Maybe they're starting to develop, and this is the year they try to really make a run in the West, a play-in run, I guess. But adding Drew with this leadership, the veteran rings that he has, his defense tenacity that he has, any team he goes to is going to make that team better. So, of course, I see a guy that says that Blazers won this deal. Me personally, I still think it's Celtics just for the fact that you're keeping, well, your hardcore group here, and Simon is a very athletic player and cheaper. So I'm actually going to say the Celtics are winning this just for the fact that they're fixing what the roster on the financial that they need. But, man, I personally, I don't think Drew Holiday stays in Portland too long. I'll say that. But what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this was a shocking trade. I didn't see this one coming. I knew Holiday would get traded, but I didn't know Anthony Simons would be in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just great for Anthony Simons, man, because he's been showing his talent. He's been playing well, putting up really good numbers, but on teams that haven't won any games. So now we're about to see how great he is playing for the Boston Celtics. Different spotlight, different set of eyes. And then people are looking at you because Drew bought them a championship. So now you're the person that they traded Drew for. Expectations are going to be high. You're a young player. Best case scenario for this is he plays well. He's on an expiring deal. So he's looking to get an extension. So the Celtics, Brad Stevens, they look at as a young player playing he's been playing on a losing team for the most part, for the majority of his career. Now he's in a winning situation. Anthony Simons is like, hey, I'm in a winning situation. I can show how I can impact winning. I can help this team. I could be a part of their future with Brown and Tatum. So this could be a perfect scenario for Simons here. He's gonna get shots. With Tatum being out, he's gonna get a lot of looks. Defensively, that's gonna be key. You have your point guard, the small forward, Simons, White, and Jaylen Brown. Getting the chemistry down with those two is paramount, of course. He's a really good three-point shooter on the ball and off the ball. So I think that's something that definitely helped in the deal as well. But the defense is going to have to be something that he's going to have to definitely hone in on and lock in even more playing with the Celtic squad. I agree with what you're saying with Drew Holiday. I don't see him staying in with the Trailblazers too long. I don't see that happening. I think, like I said, the Pacers one of these contending teams in the West. Miami, maybe Miami could go out there and try to pick them up. So there's some options. There's some options there for Drew. They made it work for him to go to the Celtics the first time when they made the Dame trade, and he landed in Portland. I expect the same thing to occur here with the second negotiation and where he lands. I think he ends up on a contender. So the Blazers, I don't really know what their direction is. I think it's Shaedon Sharpe and Donovan Clingan and whoever they draft this tomorrow. I think that's really what it. Scoot Henderson still questions. I'm not going to write his career off so early in his career. I'm not doing that.
What's your thoughts on Ayton? You like him, right?
I just never understood them keeping Ayton and then like they drafted Clingan, so it's like there was just always going to something was always going to have to give with that, right? You weren't going to be able to keep Ayton, who's still in his prime, and then drafting Clingan. So I feel like Ayton is probably on the move. Robert Williams as well. And this is Clingan's time. He's going to be a starting center for the Portland Trailblazers. Played well at Connecticut. So a lot of his games, just with Connecticut, having a lot of games over here in the city, being televised. So that 5 spot, like I said, it's going to be Shaedon Sharpe, Kamara, Denny Advia, Clingan, and hopefully Scoot Henderson could take a leap, bro. That'd be perfect, best case scenario for Portland. But they're still in rebuild. I would still keep Chauncey there because his principles are still the right habits and principles you should need. He's a point guard, and then also he's a defensive-minded point guard. And I think if anybody in this elite, versatile starting 5, Pistons had one of the best ever when you look at the versatility lineup and how they played and how everybody had different styles, but together as a 5 unit, they worked so well with the chemistry. So I don't know if the Blazers they got to figure some things out. They still don't have their guy yet. But this is more, like I said, this is more about the Celtics and Anthony Simons. And what an extension can look like for him if he has a career year. He has to have a career year. As a career, he has all the leverage. Once he does that, he has all the leverage. He has all the cards.
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunate that we saw Holiday and Porzingis leave the Celtics so soon, but we also kind of knew this was on the horizon just because of how the cap works and how these contracts work and how the CBA is now with the players and how you're able to keep a certain roster for a certain period of time. So I just think that it was a success. They brought in Holiday and Porzingis to win the chip. They got the chip, and now you figure things out from there.
One thing I do like about this trade, and I think you kind of talked about it a little bit without saying it, but this trade by moving Simons on, I really think it gives Portland the vision of saying that, okay, Scoot, this is really now your time to be that guy. Anthony Simons has been there for, I'd say, 5 years now, I guess? Or longer than that.
So Anthony Simons? Yeah, 6 years.
6 years, okay. So, you've got the 2 young guys. Of course, Simon's not really too much older than them, but at the same time, it's stopping the development of either one of those guys. So I think trading for the older players in Drew Holiday is really kind of giving a clear way for Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe to really spread their wings on the backcourt and really see if those 2 guys can develop with Clingan and their 11th pick overall. So, I mean, theoretically, you could kind of see at least the Portland Trailblazers are starting to buy into these 4 guys. And if it doesn't work for Henderson, okay, well, then we know what we got to do moving forward. So this maybe this is a rebuild that we finally been looking for the Portland Trailblazers to start doing, and it just kind of taken a while. Like we're starting to see a vision of, okay, you got two guards, yeah, you got Klingon. Are you going for a point guard here with your pick, or what's your go on moving forward? But yeah, Ayton, I think it's going to be moved for another pick very soon. So at least we see in them not really tanking, but starting to show up what they're developing here.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Grant could also be another player that could be moved as well. Me personally, I would still keep, if he wants to stay with Portland, I would keep him as long as possible because 6'9" can do everything. I mean that's just something you just can't give up. But I can see him on the market. I can see players, I can see teams trying to make moves at him. Season is shaking up to be another all-timer for sure.
Yeah. Listen, it is 11:15. We still got a bunch more trades to get through on this too, because in 2 days we've had so much action go on. It's hard to keep up with everything. So let's go ahead and jump into what Orlando did to improve their team, which, of course, that involved the Memphis Grizzlies trading away Desmond Bane, who I think is a huge piece for Orlando. Of course, Orlando had to give up Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 first-rounders, and a first-round swap. So, Caldwell Pope obviously got a ring. We know the importance he has to any team. Cole Anthony has always been there, could possibly be a guy, could keep us going, but never jumped over the hump. Desmond Bane solidifies what they're trying to do in Orlando, and it actually shows that they're trying to make that move and find their true identity of who they're going with as players here. So 4 first rounds and a first-round swap for Desmond Bane. When you consider Gobert 5 first rounds, this is totally fine with me. Cole Anthony is a good player, good role player for any team he goes to. Caldwell Pope, obviously a great role player as well. So it doesn't really, I won't say it hurts Grizzlies. They're getting one solid player. 4 first-round picks is going to be great for them to move forward. Try to even possibly make a trade again with those picks to try to help that roster right away. But I think this is a huge win, in my opinion, for Orlando Magic to solidify what they want in this next year coming.
For the Grizzlies, it was time. It was just time to make a move. We kind of saw what the Morant, Bane, Jackson Jr. trio was going to look like and where it was going to go. So I think the Grizzlies probably looked at it as try to take a crack and try to find another perimeter wing. Hopefully that guy is a game changer. And that's really what it's going to take for the Grizzlies to be in contention, be in title contention, and challenge one of these teams. They need a perimeter player that's a game changer at the 3 or 4 spot, preferably at the 3 spot. So with these 4 first-round picks, they could use that to draft, or they could use it to try to get someone and get a game changer down the road in a future trade. You get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, starter. Is he the same as he was a few years ago with Denver or with the Lakers? No, but he can still knock down shots, play defense. Had a down year last year, but new environment, new scenario. Sometimes when that happens, players bounce back. They have a better season. So playing with John Morant's always going to draw 2. So you be in that corner, stay open, stay ready. He's still going to get open shots, just like he's been getting for the last 5 years on every team he's been on, because he's playing alongside a superstar. And like I said, when they draw 2, he's going to be ready. A veteran champion. I think this is what they need. They definitely need like that experience, that veteran leadership at that guard spot. So when I come in there, he knows what it takes to win a chip. He knows what's expected every single day. The process. Did it twice. Cole Anthony. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Scottie Pippen Jr. So if you don't keep Scottie Pippen Jr., you have a solid backup point guard. It's not really that big of a drop off. when Josh sits out, you have someone like Cole Anthony come in there, score the basketball, really ignite that second unit. So people were a little surprised with the 5 first-round picks, but Desmond Bane is top 6, top 7 shooting guard in the world. I mean, you go Ant-Man, Booker, Mitchell, however you want to rank that. You could be interchangeable if you want. That could be however you want to rank that. Those are the 3 best shooting guards in the world. After that, you can say Desmond Bane, Derek White, Austin Reeves. I mean, those are that's the second tier shooting guard. So, he's a young player, 800 threes made, shooting 40% over the last 5 years. I think him and Curry are the only players to do that. So, Orlando, this is exactly what they needed. They needed floor spacing. This is something that they had issues with all last year. They were the worst 3-point shooting team in the league. Worst catch and shoot 3-point percentage shooting team in the league. Wow. So adding someone like Desmond Bane helps with that. Wagner and Banchero. Banchero draws 2. So you have someone in that corner. Not only can he play off the ball, but he could score, put the ball in the cup. He averaged 20, pretty damn near 20 points last year. Could be a closer. I like this Orlando roster as well. This Orlando roster is nice. You got Suggs, Bane, Wagner, Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. 5 out, 4, or we do 5 out motion offense, 4 out, 1 in motion offense. It's really going to come down to Wagner and Banchero. They may improve as floor spacers. They can improve as floor spacers with Bane there. If your 3 best players are efficient floor spacers, they're going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. And then two out of those 3 are 6'10". That's like, I mean, they're already defensive minded. Jamal Mosley, one of the best coaches in the league. They made gradual steps. They were the 3rd seed for a little bit last year. Inexperience kicked in. They dropped down to the play-in. Injuries kicked in so early in the season for them. The season that just passed ended up in the play-in. They started to come back. Guys get healthy. Ended up in the play-in. We're still able to win as many games without having that great of a 3-point shot as a team. So, I mean, Bane helps with that, but they still need to improve on that. Still need to add more shooters. I like that starting 5. Like I said, Suggs and Bane as a backcourt. I think they complement each other really well. The defense, you can't just game plan for one guy now for the Orlando Magic. You can't just worry about Banchero. You have to worry about Franz, and you have to worry about Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane can put up 25 any given night.
Yep.
You leave a stake, and now they have more threats out there. So if there's anybody in your starting lineup that's a defensive weakness, we're hunting them easy. And it's pick your poison. We'll hunt them with any of our guys, and we'll get them tired. And then 4th quarter come, you're late on rotations, and then you're leaving someone like Desmond Bane wide open. Somebody got to come help you with the extra pass and Banchero for a dunk. Like they're young. They get out on the break. They have dogs. Really good head coach. I believe this Magic team will be a top 16 in the Eastern Conference next season.
I agree with you on that for sure.
It's not best. Main trade is a good trade. Not done yet. Still have to make a few more moves. Like I said, they need to add maybe 2 more. I would say 2 more shooters. They need to add 2 more shooters. They could add 2 more shooters coming off the bench with this lineup. Yeah, they could contend with any of these teams in the Eastern Conference. Sure.
And even Memphis, the trade that they get here that gives them, I think, the 15th or 16th overall pick too. So, I mean, Memphis has still got a pick that they couldn't get and make an impact right away. So, 16, 15, 16, getting a little bit close to not being that. But, they got Edie, 12, I think, last year. And, of course, the impact he made this year as well. So, yeah, I think, honestly, if you can say it, I think it's a win-win for both, but I'm giving the edge to Orlando for the fact that we see what they're going to be doing right away. Memphis, it's got to be okay if this happens, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't hurt, like you said earlier. I think it's what you actually said. So I think it's a good move for both teams here. I agree Orlando is a playoff team no matter what this year, and I think they learned from last year's inexperience. Adding Bain helps with that veteran leadership with that. So I think, I'll just say playoff for sure.
And then last thing for the Grizzlies before we go to the next topic, now with Bain gone, I'm interested to see if Zach Edey gets some more touches on offense now. Mm-hmm. And he did average 25 in college. So, it's not like he doesn't know how to score. Right. It's just a matter of how they're going to use him. If they're going to use him as a scoring option now because who's taking those shots? Those 15 to 16 shots that Bain has. Where are those shots going now? If I'm Zach Edey, I'm like, hey, let me see the rock. I'm 7'4". Let me see the rock. So we'll find out very soon.
Okay, now this next trade is probably the most non-exciting for me, as I don't really know what this really does. We'll just get into it. I'll instead of building up for it. The Wizards trade for CJ McCollum, and the Poole is going to the Pelicans as well. I do see Jordan Poole matched up with Zion. Could be interesting, but I'm sorry, I'm not doing anything with the Pelicans until they actually show me something. I've been committed to them for years and seen their talent on paper and think that they could do something. So until something actually shows up, I'm just leaving them where they be. And I guess that's why it's not exciting for me on this. Of course, let's see here. ESPN said that Pelicans trade for CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole and I never say his name right. Saddiq Bey, I think is how you say it, and the number 40th overall pick. So,
Saddiq Bey, yes.
Personally, if I had to say a winner here, I just really like CJ McCollum. I liked him back when he would play for Portland, what he could do next to Dame. Of course, he never really got to do too much in New Orleans after the back injury kind of slowly, I don't know. I don't want to say got worse or anything, but I think it's good for him to have a new, fresh start, basically. What I do like about it is Washington has traded away wow, totally had his name. Who went to Milwaukee?
He went to Milwaukee?
Yes, midseason. That didn't have any points.
Middleton.
No. I'm sorry. Maybe went to the Lakers. Oh my goodness, I see his face. Cannot say his name. Kuzma, yes. So now Washington's traded Kuzma and has traded Poole. I feel like those two guys were supposed to be their main guys, but I feel like they just wanted to be scoring points and not worried about winning. So I like that Washington is getting rid of their leaders that weren't leading and actually trying to say, okay, let's do something now. So I think CJ McCollum is a quiet leader, very well veteran player with Kelly Olynyk as well. Those two guys can be good matchup or good role player pieces for you to start something. So I'll say that. Jordan Poole, man, if he could get back to the Golden State days before the knockout concussion, whatever, it would be great for the Pelicans. So this is one that I want to sit back and just watch and see if they develop a vision of what's going on here.
I'm a fan of this trade for the Wizards side.
Okay.
For the Pelicans, I don't know. I really don't know what's going on over there. Joe Dumars is now the lead guy, head executive for the New Orleans Pelicans. He has the keys. Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray as a backcourt. I don't really know what that does. in the Western Conference. So I feel like other moves are going to be made here for sure. Trey Murphy is a player that, well, now I think should get more opportunities to be a primary scoring option for New Orleans. With Zion's inactivity, DeJounte Murray coming off an injury, Jordan Poole going to a new team, he should be the guy that should be looking at and saying, let me see the basketball. Let me see the rock. I'm one of the like elder statesmen here now. It's like, let me see the rock. Like, I'm not gonna let guys come on to the team that just got here get more shots than me. So I'm looking at Trey Murphy to be someone that should take an MIP type lead. We showed flashes last year, but we need to see more consistency from him. Yeah, the Pelicans there in rebuilding mode just because Zion is just, one of the biggest question marks in sports. And, until that question mark becomes solidified or something that we can trust, it's always going to be doubt. There's always going to be doubt. It's just too much big of a sample size to view it any other way. So that's just what it is with New Orleans. But for the Wizards, yeah, I like this move. I think right now they're in the beginning stages of where Detroit was and where Orlando, Cleveland a few years ago. This is where they're at right now. I was a little confused. I was like, why would Middleton and Marcus Smart want to stay? Now, like, nothing is set in stone. They could potentially still be moved, but listening to the Warriors GM, the president, he seems like someone that's really invested and wants to turn this thing around and start to bring some winning basketball to the Washington Wizards, which I think is incredible. I mean, it's nation's capital. You should want to have some type of success there. And I think they're building towards that. You get rid of two players that didn't really care about changing the franchise. They just wanted to get their shots up. So when you get rid of those two players, now you can create the culture you want. Those were two players that weren't necessarily Poole and Kuzma. They were with the old regime. They got extensions from older regimes. And if they did get an extension with the new regime, it was with the hope that eventually you could move it. That's exactly what they did with Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. So now you bring in some real veterans that have had success. Chris Middleton's won a championship. Marcus Smart has been to the finals. CJ McCollum has been to the Western Conference Finals. So you're bringing Marcus Smart has a Defensive Player of the Year award. So you're bringing all this experience and knowledge to a young team with talent that has a lot of upside. Alex Sarr showed flashes last year. I think he's going to take another step. Bud Carrington, underrated rookie, no one really talked about. He played well. He had success. I think they had 3 rookies that made over 100 threes last year. Keyshawn George. This is a projected starter lineup, but he's probably going to come off the bench, but he can grow. He can develop. He can learn from McCollum and Chris Middleton as a shot creator, being 6'8", athletic wing player to give spark to that second unit with Marcus Smart. Allow Coulibaly, lottery pick in that Wemby draft. And he has abilities and he has gifts defensively where he could be extremely versatile. He's going to stay a starter for the foreseeable future. He's going to be a quality starter for them. So I like where the Wizards are going. You see direction now. You see direction with some of these teams that have been tanking for so long. They've been dirt for so long. Like 20 and 62. And, just you already know as soon as you look at the roster, they're not going to do anything. Yeah. At least with this team, play in. We don't know. We don't play in squad. outside looking in, we have no idea. But at least we see them making moves and adding veterans around their young players. That shows me that they want to head into a direction that some of these other teams in the East have gone. And if everything plays out the right way, I mean, this is going to be a success. So I think this was a great trade for the Wizards, and I think this is the foundation and the genesis of what they're going to build a few years from now.
Especially because I didn't think about it, but looking at the roster, that's great. But they also have the number 6 overall pick, and I think the number 18th overall pick. So earlier before you talked, I was thinking, I forgot about Middleton until you said him, and of course Marcus Smart there. Those are two great players that are defensive minded. Alex Sarr, as he develops here, of course, I thought he should have been the number 1 overall pick. Of course, Washington ended up with him, adding C.J. McCollum, and then who knows who you can get at the 6th spot here. So, I mean, Washington really, I won't say right away, but 2 years from now, they could really be a team that's got a bright future here. So, wow, yeah. Kudos to Washington making the right moves right now.
Facts. Love to see it, man. Love to see it. I mean, because listen, it's just like these fans, they spend their hard-earned money to go to these games. Money's coming out their check. They take their families or their friends. They go by themselves to watch games. You want to create an environment in the city when you're playing with these sports franchises. You want to take your friends and family to go watch the game. You want to have a winning product. Like the Wizards fans, they want to go to the games, but they're not going to spend a ticket on a game when they're going to get clapped by 30. Like the team has to put a winning product out. I think we're going to start to see that arena fill up a little bit more because there's hope and there's direction, and that's going to make it even more stacked. That's what I want to see.
And of course, from all the draft mocks that they got going on, Ace Bailey from Rutgers is who they're projecting possibly go here. Of course, reading straight from him, I did not know this, but he recently canceled his workout with the 76ers last week, days before he's supposed to take that basically work through or whatever you want to say, workout with them. So 76ers, I think, have the 3rd overall pick? Let me see here. Yeah, 3rd overall pick.
Yes.
So obviously he's not wanting to go to the 76ers. So that moves him down as far as quote, attitude, whatever. And it really, this guy averaged 17 points last year, 7 rebounds with 33% or 34% from the 3-point line. So if he were to go to the Wizards with this lineup, maybe getting to 10 to 15, 20 points a game with the shooting ability, that could look nice this coming year. So we'll see how that pans out. Of course, again, they have the 18th overall pick too. So getting one player that could maybe take over a starting position here. I don't know where at. Small forward is where Bailey plays at. But, good. Washington could be a team that we get a little hyped on by All-Star break, maybe. Pelicans, I don't know what you're doing. Totally Washington all the way on this one.
Definitely love it for DC.
Yeah. So let's go back over to Western Conference or the Western Conference. This was a thing that has been happening, I think, as recently. Of course, Kyrie Irving had a player option that he could have taken this year, but he has opted out and is tending to sign a 3-year extension with the Mavs worth $119 million here. So, I think nobody wants to leave the Mavericks if you're there because of the future that they're about to have after tomorrow. So, only makes sense. Of course, Sham breaks this. Your 9-time NBA All-Star Kyrie Irving is declining his $43 million player option and intends to sign a 3-year, $119 million contract with a franchise. So that's just all it says on that one. So someone puts Lakers like he's really going to leave Dallas when you got Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis there. Like everyone's going to set you picks, and then they're going to create off of that. So I mean, Kyrie, stay where you're going to be the point guard. So great news for Dallas. Honestly, to take $43 million for 1 year, basically spread that out for 3 more years, and have him there for much cheaper. Honestly, I think it's a great win for both people in this situation. The front office is finally looking like they shouldn't be fired after trading away Luka, but yeah. So
yeah, Nico Harrison.
Yeah.
Got to give this man his props.
No, this is NBA backing him. No,
trade
away Luka. Yeah, come on. Let's be honest. What was their percentage to get the first overall pick? What was it, like 2%?
Yeah, less than 2%. Less than 2%.
Come on.
Hey, I mean, if that's how it went down, they still got a really good team.
Absolutely.
They got a really good team. And Kyrie, he picked up Kyrie when nobody wanted to get Kyrie. Let's really talk about this. Remember, people were saying Kyrie should retire. These were the discussions.
Not from us.
Stephen A. Smith was saying that he should retire, that he was selfish. All because he didn't want to get the vaccine. And that whole time was a crazy time.
Yeah.
And people were looking at him in a light, judging him, when in real life and during that time, everybody should take a pause and look at their situation and not just assume and just react and just do something just because someone you see on TV tells you to do it or it's on a bunch of commercials. So it's like that was a crazy time. And then he goes to Dallas. There were a lot of questions. People thought him and Luka wouldn't work out. They go to the finals a year and a half later.
Yeah.
So, his loyalty, because Dallas picked him, they chose him, they traded for him, Mark Cuban. So we don't care about all this outside stuff. We know who we know who you are and what you're about. Took a chance on Kyrie, and now it looks like he's going to opt out and sign a 3-year, pretty much $120 million contract, $40 million a year. Well deserved. Getting healthy, come back healthy. After the All-Star break, that's what it'll be for me. Cooper Flag just extended. Daniel Gafford as well. So this team, I don't know why Jason Kidd would ever want to leave. Why would he leave the situation? When they're talking about next Jason Kidd, I'm like, why would he leave? I don't see it. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's just health. It's just health with this squad. They could get healthy at the right time with their depth, the coaching, with their star power. Flag going into the fold. It just adds more excitement. But it doesn't matter what if you want to win a championship, you need a point guard. You need a point guard that can do a little bit of everything. And Kyrie's one of the greatest we've ever seen. So great move for both parties. And then Dallas, as I said earlier, is going to be one of those teams that are going to be highlighted for the entire season next year.
Oh, absolutely. For one, just having Flag, and two, just Kyrie and AD and the healthy that they can possibly be, what this team could really, really be. Because honestly, it's putting a lot of hype into Cooper Flag, but right away, I think Dallas is going to be the best team to challenge OKC going in next year as far as day one. That's, of course, roster starting tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen by the end of the season. Of course, Lakers probably make some type of move to get some help with Luka and LeBron. We know that. But as far as size, defense that they can do, if they're 100% healthy, I think Dallas is going to be one of those top teams. Of course, is Kyrie out for a while?
Yeah, ACL. So
right.
ACL now, it's been an injury where you've seen players come back significantly quicker than years past. But he's over 30. He's had knee issues before. I'd be very quick. Just gave him the extension. Just be very cautious. Sign a point guard. I think it could be a blessing in disguise because now Flag can come in there and be more of a point forward, come up, create for himself and others before Kyrie comes back. So, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a few months. We'll see what this team looks like. And
So with Kyrie being
top
out,
6 for sure, lock.
right? Let me back that up. I mean, I think by the end of the season, yes, if Kyrie is healthy 100%, then yes. But Kyrie's out, obviously, it can't be the very first team day one that can challenge OKC. I backtrack that. Since we mentioned Luka and LeBron, let's go ahead and jump over to the Lakers and what's going on there. Of course, no trades has happened, but they sold the Lakers for $10 billion. So that's crazy. I did say B, right? I did put the B in there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, of course, CJ bringing this up where they bought the Lakers for $67 million. Can't remember the year. Does it say? No,
1979.
Yeah, 1979. Okay. And now, after 46 years, they sell the Lakers for $10 billion. First of all, who's got $10 billion to buy? But anyways.
Yeah, it's holding companies, just a bunch of
Right.
investors with a whole bunch of money coming together. It's the same guy that is the majority owner of the Dodgers is now the majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. I think his first name is Mark. I'm blanking on his last name. Power moves. Buying the Lakers. I mean, this is first world scenarios, man. We're trying to get to this level down the road, but
maybe one day.
It's been reported. It's been reported that Jeannie Buss will still hold the role as, still make all the basketball decisions there. Her and Rob Pelinka, of course. But this is a new era. Seems a little crazy the way the timeline is played out. It's from February to June. The trade Luka to the Lakers increases. I mean, the Lakers are already valuable, but it adds to it. You got a global superstar Luka Doncic in a Laker jersey. Then a few months later, you sell the Lakers. When
you always have to make your company look a little bit better before you sell.
Hindsight, you could say it was this was planned. You could say that. Just because of how it looks, it's kind of crazy. But ultimately, it's a historic franchise. Historic franchise was a family-run franchise all these years. 10 championships since 1979 under the Buss family. That's incredible. Man. A plethora of Hall of Famers that have played in that Laker jersey under the Buss family ownership is timeless. Jersey retired. Kobe got 2 up there. Gasol, Shaq, Magic, Worthy. Coop. All these guys, man. So it's a new time. It's a new time. $10 billion sounds about right. Celtics sold for $6. LA weather. And I think what it also does is now with this holding company being in charge, it makes the options in terms of if you want to go over the luxury tax, if you want to make certain moves to keep certain guys, sign certain type of contracts, you have an ownership group that's not afraid to spend. And when that's the case, when you're in Los Angeles and then you have the most valuable franchise, it just adds that significance. So I was a little shocked. I was shocked. You definitely expect a family-run business to stay for as long as possible, but I think it was the right move for the Buss family. $10 billion. Can't throw $10 billion on the table. It's tough to say no to that. And we'll see what comes about of this new Laker regime with Luka Doncic at the helm now for the foreseeable future. So we'll see how it works out.
Tank saying that he thinks that they did this so the family wouldn't splinter, and if they want to, they could buy one of the new teams coming in and start their own new franchise with like Seattle or Montreal. Interesting take on that. I mean, yeah, definitely $10 billion. You can move on up north to Washington or Seattle and bring us back the Supersonics. I miss the Supersonics.
Same. And I think now with the Thunder, this is what I wanted to say too. I forgot. But now with the Thunder winning their championship, I think they should separate the lineage between the Supersonics and the Thunder. Let the Thunder have their own history, KD, all those guys. So like get that, and then have the Supersonics. The Supersonics, they were a whole elite franchise for decades. You know, so Supersonics history, Thunder history.
Yep, I agree 100%. You had the Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Shrimp, Hawkins, even what was it, Sam Perkins, I think it was.
Perkins, yeah, Sam Perkins, yeah.
So you had that generation of Supersonics, and then when you draft Kevin Durant, you become the Thunder. Like let's be honest, that's where Thunder kind of starts, and that's their own franchise. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, Lakers, man, it's just they got to make some moves. They need to make some moves right now. Teams in their conference are getting better quickly, and
the Lakers don't even have a draft pick in the first round.
Look at Doncic slimming down. We're working on his physique. I think it's fantastic. Something he should be doing. Hopefully that's a consistent thing for the rest of his career, not just a one-year thing. They have to get a center. They need a center badly. If they're unable to get a center, it's a massive disappointment for the Lakers offseason. And
do you think Ayton could be their center?
I wouldn't have him as my center for the simple fact that he's not great in the pick and roll, and he's not aggressive enough offensively to where since he's not great in the pick and roll, his scoring would offset that. He's not a game changer defensively at all in the middle. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't make that move.
Okay. Well, speaking of the Lakers, of course, we've got something else to talk about with that team. Is, of course, the ring culture, and of course, this is from LeBron James on ring culture. Is this a clip?
Yes, it's a clip.
Okay.
It's funny, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport, and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything. You sit here and tell me, you know, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys is because this guy won one ring or won two rings or one, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. They don't never discuss that in their sport. Right. Or telling me that Dan Marino is not the greatest slinger of all time, or he can't be in the room with those guys because he didn't win a championship. They don't discuss those things, you know. I don't know. I don't know. Did Barry Bonds win a World Series? I don't think so. I don't think so. Barry Bonds never won a World Series, and you can't sit here and tell me that he's not the greatest baseball player to ever touch a bat. I mean, Jerry West, I think, went to like 9 straight NBA finals. Right. And was only able to win one. And he's the logo of our league. Yeah. So you can't sit here and tell me that, okay, well, because he only won one, the guy can't be in the same room with the guy who won 2 or 3 or 4. Like, why not? This guy, he's our logo.
What's your thoughts, man?
The thing says LeBron is just mad that he's not the GOAT, and the debate still truly lies with Michael Jordan or Bill Russell. I mean, I agree with him to an extent because some of these players do get overlooked on how great they were because they didn't win a ring. But at the same time, ring is the ultimate goal, or that's what it should be. So if you aren't winning the ultimate goal, are you great? You might be great at one thing. Like, okay, let's be honest. You mentioned Barry Bonds. He was good at hitting. He was great at hitting. But was he the greatest player ever? No. I mean, you got Pete Rose had more hits than him. You've got so many different players. You got Johnny Bench, who is the greatest catcher of all time with a ring. So, I mean, you've got some of these older guys. Alex Rodriguez was a wonderful player as well. So, I mean, he mentioned Dan Marino. Yes, he was the greatest quarterback to not win a ring. That's really what we say about him. And for many years, Peyton Manning was not better than Tom Brady because of the rings, which me personally, I've always said hands down, I'd take Peyton over Brady any day just for the fact that the mentality that he had. Well, you're a Patriots fan. Just listen to me, okay? Hang on. Peyton Manning Peyton Manning ran an offense. He was the offensive coordinator as the quarterback. Like, that's crazy mentality and mental awareness of the game that doesn't get talked about. Like, how in the world are you calling your own plays from the huddle instead of having a coach tell you, which Tom Brady, obviously he did great. I mean, look how many rings he got. That's why everyone always says Tom Brady is by far better than Peyton Manning because of the rings. So, I mean, yes, I don't care what you say. The rings weigh on any discussion of what you want to say, the greatest or whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, that's why even me, I think Peyton Manning did better, knew more as far as that. But still, who's the greatest quarterback? It's Tom Brady. I mean, rings he's got. So, I mean, it's just you can't say the rings aren't the main goal of any of the conversations about greatness. Go ahead. Attack me about my Peyton.
Nah, I'm not even going to attack you on that. I just LeBron just comes off real hypocritical because you're saying why does ring culture matter, but you left Cleveland to go to Miami, created a super team to win championships, and then even before that, we had a whole show called The Decision, where everybody waited till 7:00 Eastern time, where you're sitting down with Jim Gray, and everybody wants to see where you're going to go next, so you could win a championship. Like that was the goal ultimately, to go down there to Miami, take your talents to win a chip. You go to Miami, you say not 5, not 6, not 7. Why would you say that if ring culture didn't matter? You had at the time he didn't win it. He didn't have a championship yet. So that was the number one thing everyone was talking about. Everyone saw how great LeBron was. But the question was, when was he going to finally win a title? Because people say he was a chosen one, he was the next up. So you can't be the next up with no title. Cleveland was, I feel like he left, Cleveland wasn't able to build a team around him, a championship team, a real championship team around him. They never had a quality number 2 guy next to LeBron. Every time they tried to make a move and get a quality 2, it always fell through. So I wasn't against him going to Miami or leaving Cleveland to go to a better team. Wasn't against that, but it's just like you can't come here, 15 years later talking about now that you have 4 championships, you've been to the finals 10 times. Now you can't sit here and say ring culture doesn't matter. It's always mattered. That's the whole point. It's just the players that he mentioned: Steve Nash, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Allen Iverson. They're Hall of Famers. There's just a different conversation that we have when we talk about. It's just an all-time, greatest of all time conversation, and then there's a Hall of Fame conversation. The names that LeBron mentioned and I mentioned, they're no question first ballot Hall of Famers, easily. But some of those point guards I mentioned, Nash, Stockton, they don't have as many championships as Magic Johnson, so they're not in the same class. Skill wise, yeah, they're all skillful. They're some of the greatest, but ultimately, when they reach the finals, did they win? Did they dominate multiple times, multiple chips, multiple finals MVPs? You have to factor that in when you're talking about some of the greatest players we've ever seen. So there's a Hall of Fame conversation, and then there's a all-time greatest of all time convo. There was Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, old heads, way before us, before our time. We're saying Bill Russell was the GOAT. We're saying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm pretty sure it wasn't even a question for a long time. Who was the best player? The people were saying Kareem or Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain. That was a discussion. So as players got into the league, as the game evolved, and different type of players etched their name in history, we have different rankings now. That's all it is. And when you have those different type of conversations, yeah, you're going to nitpick. And when you nitpick because it's so close, because every player is great, you have to mention the rings and the chips and how many times you went there, how many finals MVPs. If you want to have that type of debate and conversation, you don't want to have that debate and conversation, you don't have to. Nobody's discrediting those players that didn't win a chip. They're just not. They're just levels. It's just levels. That's it. We're having a different conversation for LeBron if he only wins 2 championships, as opposed to 4 and 4 finals MVPs. What are we saying about Kevin Durant? If Kevin Durant doesn't go to Golden State and win two titles, they would talk about him like how they talk about Barkley. About it's one of the greatest scorers, one of the greatest players of all time. He doesn't have a chip. And it's always going to matter in team sports with the championship. So this notion that he's oblivious as to why certain players aren't in the same conversations with others. He knows why. I just feel like he was just pandering a little bit to Steve Nash. Steve Nash is his co-host. It's probably a little tough to have certain conversations because Steve Nash never won a chip. I don't know. But I feel like he just didn't necessarily have to do all that. Because, like I said, he comes off as hypocritical. You had a whole offseason centered around you and where your next destination was for you to go win a chip. And everybody ridiculed you when you didn't win it the first time against Dallas. People were having their doubts. When you got that first one, it was like, it's about damn time. If ring culture didn't matter, why would that be a reaction to your first title? It's just, like I said, I just feel like he was pandering to Nash. You know, Braun likes to be politically correct. You know, he likes to just play the middle. He doesn't want to take a crazy take. He just try to be cool with everybody, I guess. Like it comes off like, bro, like you're not making any sense. Like you make no sense, man.
Yeah. If you don't want to talk about the greatest, then yeah, okay, the rings don't matter. But if you're talking about the greatest, the ring is in the conversation. Period. Point blank. There's no other discussion about it. Like
and that's what they're doing. Like this, LeBron's camp and Rich Paul. Like it's just weird to me. I don't understand. Why are you trying to change the narrative? Now Rich Paul going on Pat McAfee saying it wasn't a big 3 in Miami. It wasn't a big 3, really? I would like. Like, what are you talking about? You're talking about it wasn't a big 3. That's how it literally was hyped and promoted. You were there. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? So you're just, trying to change the narrative to and I feel like it's not even necessary. Just let LeBron's career speak for itself. People are going to rank him how they rank him. Plain and simple. To come out and say, oh, Miami wasn't a big 3. Like, come on, man. Come on.
And see, that's another reason why I think Michael Jordan's one of the greatest, or if not the greatest, which he is because he never really had to persuade any conversations to make him sound better or bigger about whatever way. Like Jordan never said he was the greatest, but we knew he was. LeBron, rings don't matter. It's really, stats because, hey, I got all the stats, like just go play and let your game tell us if you're the greatest or not. And I just feel like you said, the narrative, they're trying to change it a little bit. They're trying to make it sound like this doesn't weigh as much. This is how it really should be, and that's how we should judge. Sorry,
Right.
rings are important.
Exactly. It's not like we're comparing a player like a role player or a starter that won a bunch of championships to Allen Iverson. That's not what we're doing. Like, I would pick Allen Iverson all time over that player that's a starter that was on a really good team and won a bunch of championships. Obviously, I would take Allen Iverson, even though Allen Iverson doesn't have a championship.
Right.
So it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not just saying just the rings. It's what, again, when you're talking about all time greatest of all time, you have to talk about the championships.
Yes.
That's the only way you can solidify and make your argument.
Yeah.
It's one of the things.
Yeah. Robert Horry is great, but I mean, he was great at what he did, but he wasn't the best on the team, so that's why he's not in that discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just weird.
No.
It's just, like I said, hypocritical from LeBron. It's a little too PC. It's keeping 1,000, bro. That's it.
Yeah. Come on, LeBron. Be better. So let's go ahead and jump over to our last topic before we cut this out, because we are at midnight. And guys, just so you all know, there's the NBA draft tonight. So be tuning into that, of course. I think it starts at 8 p.m. See who goes where. And obviously we know Cooper Flag's going to be the number one. But this one is MNC picks, as we used to kind of do, but ranking the last 7 NBA championships. This may be a little tough. There's no more repeats, are there?
No more repeats.
Okay, I'm going to. Can I pick? Man.
Are you ready?
Who you got?
Well, I have number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I got the Lakers, 2020 Lakers.
Okay.
Then I would go OKC. The OKC, Celtics, Raptors, Warriors, Nuggets, Bucks.
I agree with you, Bucks last. I will say that. I agree with you there. Talent-wise and everything, it's hard to go against Celtics being number one for me. Just their solid five that they had, the defense, everyone that stepped up. Derek White was a nobody, basically a role player, and then became to a starter, making bank because of his playoff run with that. So I'm actually going to say Celtics 1. You may hate me, but I'm going to go with OKC 2, Lakers 3. I really want to say Golden State 4, Raptors 5, Nuggets 6, and then Bucks. But I'd like to really see these almost roster, side by side, because Golden State, obviously that's not with KD. Trying to remember that run and everything, which
that's Wiggins, Jordan Poole, Clay,
mm-hmm.
Draymond, obviously Steph. Kevon Looney. It's a good team. They had a good team. Good team.
Let me go back. I think I did Celtics, OKC, Lakers. I'm going to put them over Golden State. I do like the Lakers over there after hearing roster. Raptors, Nuggets, Bucks. That's my order. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that Warriors team had a nice little run too. They went up against Jokic, Ja, Luka, and then Tatum in the finals. That's a good run. Yeah, just that 2020 Laker team, man. I mean, I feel like it's something. They were in the bubble. So they're gonna get that. They're not
That's
gonna
the
get,
hiccup.
they're not gonna get the love. When you look at that roster was down. They had KCP and Caruso prime.
That's true.
Prime. Rondo, they had Rondo.
Man.
35-year-old LeBron, 27-year-old AD, Dwight, JaVale McGee.
Okay.
Just
Let me go
defensively.
Celtics. I'm going Celtics, Lakers, then OKC.
Oh, man, listen, bro, it's your list.
No. Rondo on that team with AD, of course, two Kentucky guys, with LeBron, Kuzma really
locked in Kuzma.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a Danny Green. They had a really defensively, they were really good. The passing. Just watch how they played before the pandemic. It was crazy how they played. The ball
This
movement.
comment. That comment over there says Lakers bubble chip and the OKC ambulance chip doesn't count. What the crap?
Yeah, it's troll baiting kids on Twitter. All these teams were different in their own right, man. But the 2019 Raptor team, I feel like they don't get enough credit because KD got hurt, and that's what people talk about. But that roster was stacked. With Kawhi, Kyle Lowry, Siakam, Gasol, Ibaka, Danny Green. Yeah, bro. That team, Fred VanVleet, that team was stacked. That team was really good defensively, playing that box and one. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Warriors. They beat the Sixers. Kawhi hit one of the greatest clutch shots ever against Philadelphia. 2019 Raptors definitely one of the greatest teams of all time.
I wish we could have got that for 2 years too.
Yeah, it's just Kawhi left, so we'll always just look at the one season. We'll never know how far they could have taken it. But really good list. And I know we got the Bucks. I know we got the 2021 Bucks last, but that team was really. I mean, Giannis was. No one was able to stop Giannis. No one. 50 and 17 in the closeout game. In Game 6, 50 and 17. Different level.
Excuse me.
Yeah, like I said, 35-year-old Braun, 27-year-old AD. Got Rondo out there, high IQ. Rondo, Caruso, just hungry Caruso, like just still trying to get the second contract Caruso. Starving.
That had McGee and Dwight Howard too.
Exactly.
When they had a center.
Yep, they had two good centers around them. Team was good.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we got it. Guys, we thank you all for tuning in with us for over 2 hours here. Tank, you're the MVP for today, man. Thanks for staying with us the whole time with all the comments, staying engaged with us, man. We appreciate that. Of course, the only thing you talking about this all WNBA stuff, but, we get that. We get that. But we appreciate y'all joining in and tuning in with us. Of course, we'll try to be live next Tuesday or Thursday. We're kind of back and forth. Summertime, it does get a little more exciting. Draft is happening. Of course, then they'll be starting summer leagues very soon too. Free agency be going on. So we'll still have stuff to talk about, but it's just off season. So it gets a little difficult sometimes, but usually it's more high impact than what we think in the off season sometimes. But we appreciate you again, guys, tuning in. CJ, where can we find you at?
If you want to find some content on the W, shout out my guy Nick Andre ATR on X.
And his burner account, Nick Andre ATRRRR.
He has a show where he covers the W, so check that out. Find me on YouTube, CJ vs. the World. Find me on X at cjames9_ cj.james9 on IG. Thank you guys, man. Like I said, the season really doesn't stop because we got the draft, we got the off season, and we got summer league, and then before you know it, training camp is right around the corner. So stay locked in with us, man. We appreciate everybody. It's a great season, great year. everybody tuned in. All the people in X got a lot of love on the X throughout this basketball season. So just excited and blessed. Thank everybody for supporting us throughout the way.
Absolutely. Of course, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MNC Hoops. You can find me, MD Lawson00, on all social media platforms. I do have a second show, Cats Chat, where it's everything Kentucky sports. Of course, Kentucky basketball and football right around the corner. The girls' basketball team is looking pretty good. We just got 2 recruits or commits, number 9 and number 10 overall for the women's side. So it's pretty cool to have that. But, yeah, just check us out on all social medias. CJ's killing it on YouTube for CJ versus World with his 6'7" center, trying to be the best out there. Watch the last video, man. Doing some good work. But, yeah, man. Again, guys, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Y'all have a good one.
See you guys next week. Take care.